Josh Stevens.
MZ, Michael Zwerling.
May I ask you a personal question?
You sure can.
How old are you?
I am 20 plus 4 years old.
Okay, so you're not a quarter of a century yet.
Almost.
And you seem to be interested in talk radio. Yeah?
Somewhat, yeah.
Somewhat?
A lot.
Enough to be, and I never asked you, maybe I have asked you, and maybe the Alzheimer's has kicked in so much that I forgot that I already asked you. And I know I've asked you your age before. I thought you were 26. So why did I ask you now? Just because I wasn't positive. And
Nice.
and so why does a young'un like you, do you do social media?
Of course.
Okay. So you do social media and talk radio, right?
Absolutely.
That's what I think is unusual for a person of your age, because most people of your age have never even heard of radio. They just don't even know it because they grew up with digital and internet and everything, right?
Or they've only heard of FM and haven't discovered the magic of AM.
Do you know we had a talk show host? Dave Michaels will remember the talk show host because his name was also Dave. It was called Dave Allen. Dave Allen moved to heaven a few years ago, but he was probably the most popular local radio personality for several years because the guy was a total character. Dave is nodding his head. He's here in the studio. Did you ever hear of Dave Allen?
I've heard the name, but I haven't heard of the content.
He used to say FM, and AM means active minds, and FM means, do you remember Dave Michaels?
For morons.
Yep.
Now, that people say that poor Dave was a little abrasive because those were the kinds of things that he used to say. Because there was no talk radio on FM. Nobody knows why, but there just wasn't.
Yep.
Right? And some people came along and figured, hey, this is a great opportunity to introduce talk radio to the FM dial. And our 30th anniversary of Zwerling ownership of KSCO is coming up on the 31st of January. Should we do a potty?
Yes, we should do a potty.
Even if it's illegal?
Yes.
Really?
Especially if it's illegal, MZ.
Really?
Yes.
So are you serious about that, Dave Michaels?
Oh, you mean because
Because of the COVID, yeah.
Man, I don't
What if is gatherings? I'm not sure what the law is currently. You must be because you're up on all that stuff. Are you allowed to have a gathering of more than 2 or 3 people without it warrant being the death penalty being warranted?
I think it goes by the percentage of occupancy. So some places you're not allowed to be at more than 25% of occupancy, and the people have to be spaced at least 6 feet apart.
Well, we have our potty patio. And in the past, when we've had open houses here at KSCO, the interior was available for people to tour the station, which is a really interesting thing for people to do. There's no place like this on earth, I don't think. And, of course, we have our potty patio outside that can support 300, 400, 500 people, with the patio and the parking lot here. So I miss those potties. We haven't had any of them in 2020, right? And I don't think that we will. But at the end of the first month of 2021, January 31st will be the actual 30th anniversary. Now, the station is much older than 30 years. The station is, 74 years or something like that. Yeah, 1947, September 21st, 1947. And there were three owners total, 2 before me. It's been a great ride. It really has. But I'm fascinated, Josh Stevens, by younger people. Now, you're a younger person, Dave. You're younger than me, but because you're over 40, I hate to break this news to you. You can never be considered a young person anymore. You're definitely.
I know.
I mean, that's the cutoff point. I had a friend named the Toad. When I hit 40, he used to depress me by calling me and saying, there's no way by anyone's measurement that you can ever be considered a young person anymore. You are definitely middle-aged, at least.
Isn't that the guy who'd throw away a cake if he saw a fly?
That is the guy. That's the guy. He hated flies so much that if a fly lit on his piece of pie, he would not only not eat the piece of pie, he would throw away the rest of the pie.
That's weird.
Yeah.
You would think with a name like Toad, he would probably eat the flies.
Well, that was our nickname
Oh,
for
okay,
him, you
so
know,
he
but
wasn't actually-
that wasn't his real name. I mean, his real name was Richard. But anyhow, getting back to you, Josh Stevens, you are a younger person. You're fascinated. You're into things that younger people are into, like social media. Some of the older people, a lot of older people who are my age are into social media. There are people like Vernon. You know, great, amazing, wonderful fan of the radio station. But I don't think Vernon listens to us anymore very much. Now, I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, I invite him to call and tell me that I'm wrong to my name, to my face here. Well, to my voice, whatever. This is radio, right?
Well, one of the beauties of the modern age, even with social media, is that it can actually work with radio. Because, for example, I've noticed a lot of folks are starting to live stream their radio broadcasts, like have a video of them. So, in other words, it's not necessarily video killing the radio star per se, but it's allowing the radio star to become the video star.
Oh yeah, why not? The cool thing about digital media is that there has been a convergence. I mean, there's no television no longer has the exclusive dibs on visual, you know, because we can have that with radio. We have, but it's in the past it hasn't been very exciting. In fact, it's been sort of boring. I mean, just having a webcam trained on the frequently not very appetizing looking host. I mean, all of us have good faces for radio. Some of us are better looking than others. Or I should say some of you are better. What am I trying to say?
What should we have? Cat juggling?
Huh?
We could have a host to do cat juggling while he's doing the show. That'd be exciting and fun to watch.
Anything other than just a static camera looking at a person just to see what they look like. You know, I mean, there's nothing imaginative about that.
Well, you know,
I want imaginative ideas for your favorite radio station to become even better, a whole lot better, so that we don't die. Because we're going to die because we're getting too old unless we can attract younger people. How do you attract younger people? How, Josh Stevens? You're a younger person.
Easily. Social media, podcasting, like real podcasting, getting on all the networks possible because they're like...
Well, what's our story? We're a great local radio station like no other that serves our community. Okay, so what? Is that going to get us on podcasts that are heard by millions of people?
Provided we get our podcasts on to the appropriate format, such as being able to tag them with the subjects we talk about, because sometimes a multitude of our hosts cover the most in-depth subjects and people are interested, but they can't find it if, say, for example, no show notes, as you've mentioned before. Or
right. And Dave, I got to thank you, Dave, publicly. You do the greatest job of show notes for this for the Saturday special. None of the other, and I guess you do it for Flight 1080, right? For your own show. When you're on.
When I'm on, I do my own
right.
notes.
Hey, when you do Flight 1080, Josh Stevens, which I think is one day a week, is it Wednesday or something?
Thursday.
Thursday, okay. Do you do show notes?
Of course. Yeah.
So that's covered. Okay, so that it's searchable. We're definitely taking steps in the right direction. I don't know of a single KSCO host who takes the time to do show notes.
Yeah, it's
beyond
crazy.
you guys. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and if I am wrong, I definitely apologize to those hosts. But that's what has to happen, and I'm not sure that's enough anyhow, because I think, and I'm thanks to my mom who turned me on to talk radio probably when I was in 6th or 7th grade with KGO San Francisco. I love talk radio. I really do. And I've heard it said before, and I've said it before. Talk radio is the original social medium, right?
That's what I believe.
Because that it's interactive and it continues to be interactive. You don't need a computer. You don't need a smartphone. But most people have computers and smartphones. And the people who don't, if they're interested in keeping their minds active, I guess all they have is talk radio, you know, I guess. But I got to get younger people involved, and that's what we have to do, because otherwise all us old folks are going to die out, and with it, talk radio.
Well, I think that as people age, they get more curious, and I think that that age group will always replenish itself. There will always be older people. I mean, there will never be only young people.
So when a
get
younger person now who doesn't even know about radio. I mean, when I got into the radio business 30 years ago, if you were under 30, you never even heard of the AM band. Everything was FM. Now, if you're under 30, you haven't even heard of radio, period, AM or FM, because digital has been around so long. What?
You want to know why I only discovered all the great content that is available on AM radio before I even joined here?
Yeah, tell me.
It was simply because one time I was out in rural Nevada going on the Virginia and Truckee train rides with one of my friends, and when we were out there, we couldn't find a good music station on the FM dial. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and check the AM. And lo and behold, they had a bunch of music stations offered that not only had like oldies and all these different eras of music that piqued my interest, but it was going the distance. Like, we were driving for miles and miles, and the signal just kept coming through. And after that, it was magical, and it started making.
And when was that, Josh Stevens? When? 10 years ago?
Not even that. Like, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago.
And you were a Santa Cruz resident then, but you happened to be traveling, and that's how you discovered talk radio.
Absolutely.
By chance. Okay, so you came back to Santa Cruz, and you discovered that we have this talk radio called KSCO here.
Yep, and I think I even phoned into Charlie's program as well before I even thought about coming here to man the board.
I see.
And
well,
then,
that's great.
Of course, not only that, but the one station that is out of Cannery Row that was simulcasting.
KNRY, yeah, 1240. Used to be called KMBY.
It's now KMBY again. They reopened.
Okay, great.
It's crazy, but after listening to that and hearing their live program when they were simulcasting K-Surf down in L.A.
Oh, yeah.
I met some of their DJs on social media as well as their fans, and made 3 new friends in Southern California, 2 of which I've actually gone to Broadway musicals with. And it was literally through radio. And as a result, I believed in radio being a platform that I believe needs to be kept alive, because it was such a
no
magical
question.
moment.
It's still very, very popular. And I think it would become much more popular if we could somehow appeal to a much broader class of younger people. Now, Dave, let me ask you the question. Okay, you're exactly twice Josh Stevens' age. Right? Okay, but you've been here a long time.
I have.
So you were a young person. Not now, but were. What attracted you to talk radio and KSCO in particular? I never asked you that question. If I have and you told me, I forgot.
You know, my first experience with talk radio was driving around with my dad, who used to own a lot of property, and we would go and maintain his properties, and we would listen to Rush Limbaugh. And I was probably just barely out of high school, maybe even in high school, and I was blown away, man. I was absolutely blown away. You know, AM radio, I think, still holds the appeal for people who are curious about what's going on out there. It's not for idiots.
Well, Michael Olson says it perfectly. He says talk radio is for people who have an investment in their community, because they want to know what's going on.
You know, at that age, I didn't even have an investment in my community, because I was young.
Well, your dad did, and so that's why he listened, probably.
Maybe, yes. But to me, it made sense. You know, the conservative ideas that you usually find on AM radio made sense. And I've always been a fan of radio ever since that.
And you say conservative. What about liberal ideas that you find on talk radio? Or do you? Maybe you don't. I think the successful talk radio stations, none of them are liberal.
No, they're not. They're not. And
why is that?
I don't know. Other than NPR, which gets public funding, right? That's why they stay on radio. But I don't know. I don't know about that.
Because all the liberal stations are too busy playing more music than they are talking, because maybe they don't want to talk. Maybe they're too scared to share their ideas in a format that gets the attention of numerous listeners.
Right.
On,
We have a very, you can count them on less than the fingers on your hand and thumb, callers who are liberal callers. Okay, I wish we had more. But I don't know why we don't have more, except, I mean, do you have any idea why we don't have more?
more liberal
More
callers?
liberal callers, yeah. We just have very few. It's a token amount.
Because
we don't screen anybody out at all, unless they're...
Yes, they're jerks.
Yeah.
I believe it's because they're all tuned into podcasts, like just all the pre-recorded mediums, short sound bites. They might even have shorter attention spans.
Wow.
And it's all part of the social media era that causes that. I know for a fact, because why else would we invent like all these different mediums where you just basically share like 5 to 10 second videos and call it a day? It's like, wow, have we really... It's almost like a de-evolution of society in many ways that I see, but...
You know, MZ, I almost think that most of them are cowards. I would say that most liberals are cowards, and they know that when you question them and you actually, put their ideas to be questioned by a massive amount of people, they've got nothing, and that's not very entertaining to listen to. I think they're cowards, and very few of them, the token ones that you call them token, have the guts to challenge themselves intellectually
And
to
I
engage with
have the highest regard
me too,
for those
me
people.
too. But the rest of them are cowards. They're intellectual cowards, and they know that their arguments cannot stand up to scrutiny. So they stay quiet, or they unleash with hatred and vitriol.
So
and,
let me
and
ask you this: do you think?
Because intellectually they can't hang.
Do you think that many liberal people, and I hate
I know,
using
right?
labels, but I don't know how else to frame this question. Do you think many liberals even listen to this station?
I think that most of them are too cowardly to do so.
To even listen, let alone call.
To even listen. You
So-
heard it before,
so is
MZ.
it-
I'm
is
not
it-
going to listen to Rush Limbaugh. He's why should I listen to him? He's blah, 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 blah. Idiots.
Yeah.
Idiots. Raging idiots. And I mean, they're raging too. They're out on the streets screaming. They're raging
These are the
idiots.
same people who hate Trump, right?
Yes, they're the same
Yeah.
people that hate Trump.
There are other people who hate Trump, who are I think are pretty intelligent.
Sure.
There are people, nephews and nieces in not all of them, but most of them in
Are
my
they
family.
raging?
They hate Trump with a vengeance.
wow.
They just hate Trump.
Okay.
They call him the orange monkey.
Yeah, I would say that.
And there are people at school age, grandkids, not my grandkids, but other grandkids in the family, who are taught in school that Trump is a monkey. And that he's a bad, evil person, and that he's a racist, and that he's a sexist, and that he's, a white supremacist. And
I don't know, MZ. All I can tell you is I'm hopeful that there's enough people out there who will grow up like my son. And
tell me about Mikey.
And he grew.
I haven't seen Mikey since he was a
grew
little
up hearing that
high-voiced
stuff.
kid. I know. Yeah.
He grew up hearing that stuff, and he is not. He's the farthest thing from one of those left. I don't want to say how he's affiliated because he works. He's out there working now, so I don't want to hang a label on him. But he is the farthest thing from one of those emotional nutballs that I've ever seen. And I have a lot of hope because his friends are of the same age. They're in their early 20s. They find most of this stuff laughable.
Wow.
Yeah. I think,
Okay. So I don't want to. We're going to have two subjects today, and the first one we've already started. The talk radio and its appeal to younger people, and how do we do that? And Wendell is already calling from Reno with an idea for a program for young'uns. And Anna Marie from Watsonville is already on the line to thank us for mentioning Dave Allen, the Nighthawk.
Yes.
By the way, I've done this, I think, once before. I played the Dave Allen scope, where we did it. We had a demo of him that someone produced here at KSCO. Maybe you did. Do you remember? Was that sort of like a demo reel for Dave Allen?
It wasn't me.
Okay. I think I played it once before on the Saturday special. I'll play it again if people want to hear it.
Okay.
And we have thousands of hours, well, definitely hundreds, maybe thousands of hours of Dave's old shows that I think would be great content. Just absolutely fabulous content. Anyhow, I want to talk about the two topics today. How to, integrate younger people into talk radio. And the other question, this is the main question of the day. I hope we'll get a lot of phone calls with a lot of different opinions. What is going to happen if Trump is reelected?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
What will happen if Trump is reelected?
Yeah, what do you think? 479-1080 is the phone number.
Holy
That's in
cow.
area
You're gonna say
831. And you can email mz@ksco.com. Yeah?
You're going to say good morning?
Good morning? Yeah, we will, for sure. No,
yes.
I know you think I forgot. And I probably did. But Dave, do your promo for the Dave Cave, because you got a lot of good stuff in there still.
We do. We still have a lot of good stuff. What I want to tell people about is the Ultimate Daily Classic. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about this since the last time that Dr. Wallach was on. He was on last week. The Ultimate Daily Classic is what he recommends if you're dealing with blood pressure problems. Now, this should be taken in conjunction with the Healthy Start Pack. Everybody should be on the Healthy Start Pack. That goes without saying. Now, there are several other things.
Now, why should everybody be on the Healthy Start Pack? I know, but you explain it better.
You get your 90 essential nutrients plus an extra dose of calcium. If you just want your 90 essential nutrients, then all you want is your tangy tangerine and your EFAs, and you've got your 90 essential nutrients. But calcium is one of the most important minerals that your body can have. It is absolutely essential. You get an extra dose of calcium in the Healthy Start Pack. Everybody should be on the Healthy Start Pack. Goes without saying. Add the Ultimate Daily Classic, and you start working on your blood pressure problems. Very easy. Ultimate Daily Classic and the Healthy Start Pack. As a matter of fact, I'm working on a new promo. It would be an infomercial that'll tell people how to, not diagnose, because that's not what we do, how to figure out which products you should take for the health concerns that you have. It's very, very simple. Only 4 or 5 different products that you need to remember. If you come down to the Dave Cave, I'll be happy to share that with you.
I call it modular nutrition.
Sure.
You know, the healthy brain and heart pack, the healthy weight loss pack, the healthy blood sugar pack.
Can I take 3 minutes here?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So there are basically 4 categories that the Healthy Start Packs, I mean, there's more. We have the diet pack and the athletic pack, but there's 4. One is for the hard tissue, right? This is for your bones. If you have hard tissue problems, then you want the bone and joint pack. If you have soft tissue problems, then you want the digestive pack. There's a lot of things that start, how can I say? There's basically 4 different packs: soft tissue, hard tissue, blood sugar, and digestive.
Okay.
Those 4 packs will but they will help you with almost anything. 4 different things to remember. 4 different things to remember: the soft tissue, hard tissue, blood, sugar, and digestive problems. Those are the 4 main problems. 4 products.
So you can almost predict for yourself or
absolutely
what you should have if you ask yourself what challenges you have,
absolutely,
what health challenges you have, and we have a pack for it.
4 different products, 4 different packs. That's all you need to remember for the most part, and I'll be happy to share that information with you if you come down to the Dave Cave or just call 218-5726.
And you can even text to that number too, right?
You can even text that number, yes. And don't forget KSCO gear. Now, Josh, I heard, is going to dress up as, what's your costume going to be this year, Josh?
Well, for this year, I figured what's a better way to form a Halloween costume than to grab a nice neon KSCO jacket and yellow KSCO branded hat, grab a pair of nice sweats, and
blue
no
shoes.
T-shirt.
He's wearing the hat.
I'll be
He's
poor
wearing
old
everything.
beleaguered MZ for Halloween, and you too can be poor old beleaguered MZ for Halloween.
Stop by the Dave Cave. You can dress up exactly like MZ does.
Wow.
How's that?
Yeah, and you're suspending the rule, clearly. You know, you always had a rule. Did something just happen to the volume of my voice over the air? It did with my system here. Did it change over the air too?
No. Nope.
Find out.
It's, okay, good. So I guess we're poor old beleaguered MZ. That's pretty funny to go trick-or-treating. Wait a minute. Is there trick-or-treating because of COVID?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell does that mean?
Well, the boardwalk is doing trick-or-treating, but they're trying to do it in like a socially distanced fashion where they have everyone pre-sign up and I guess keep their distance and limit the capacity in the boardwalk during it. So that's an example, but it's not like the traditional just walk about wherever you want and go trick-or-treating. It has to be organized.
How are we going to do virtual trick-or-treating? The person who figures that one out is going to become wealthy.
What I'm going to do to practice social distancing is when the kids come up to the house, I'm just going to throw the candy at them.
Okay.
And then, further than 6 feet away, just throw the candy
Just
at them.
open the sack, right, and try to
Sure, they can have a sack, then half sack,
try to
I don't
get
care.
2 points, right? Yeah, something like
The forehead
that.
is 3 points.
There's
3
somebody,
points
I
out.
believe, in the Midwest that made a candy chute lined to their stair railing up to their house. So then they just drop the candy in there, let it roll down, and then they remain 6 feet apart from the kids.
Right. Oh,
It's perfect.
That's so
like throwing it at
cool.
'em.
Wow.
All
So,
right, MC.
okay, Dave, you'll be here till 2:00 today.
Yes, sir.
Yes? Okay, and that's the Dave Cave at 2300 Portola Drive
very much.
in Santa Cruz. And you do look sort of like poor old beleaguered MZ.
And if you get this set up, you too can ask the personal questions.
Wow, this is great. I love it. Okay, now I'll bet you thought I was going to forget to play this.
Good morning, a brighter day is here. Good morning, may we bring you cheer.
We've got time, we've got tunes, we've got time, tunes, and temperature.
Get up and go, it's today, you know, on KSCO Radio.
I promised myself that I wasn't going to sing today because too many people have been complaining about it. Now, some people say I can't carry a tune, but they like it. They pat me on the back for having the guts to subject the audience to that because they know I love it so much. But when I played this Good Morning jingle, I just sort of feel like, can I sing along with that? Okay, here
That's
we
the
go.
way.
Good morning. Now stay right here at KSCO Radio. Oh, okay, so.
Nailed it.
Oh, I need to do something else here. Do you realize we're doing this and the show is 25% over?
Yep,
Has that ever happened before?
it has.
Seriously?
Like maybe 3 episodes ago.
Jeez. All right, that's some special fanfare music. It is so rude to keep our loyal callers on hold for more than an hour. That hasn't happened yet, but it could if I don't, get on the phone here and welcome our first caller, Anna Marie in Watsonville.
Hello, good morning, happy Saturday.
How are you
guys
feeling today?
have so many things. You know what? Please stop putting yourselves down. You guys are freaking awesome. I would like to have capes on every one of you. Talk radio is rarely ever boring. And, I'm thinking maybe you guys could do posters to advertise how wonderful KSCO. I'm thinking about how young ones can be lured to talk radio. Remember, they get bored. They get bored with the status quo because nowadays cell phones, Facebook, YouTube, etc., it's old to them. It's like, duh, it's old because it's been like over 20 years.
So, yeah, talk radio would be new if we could just somehow get the message out to them that we're here.
Yes, sir. And I really do think that just a really colorful, eye-catching poster would just make it's enough to spark an interest to where they would quietly take a mental note and check it out because it's something to discover. Remember, young ones, teenagers especially, love to discover something. And they love to have something different to talk about than the same old boring garbage that's going around today. And as far as the suggestion to be visual, to have some kind of visual on you guys, I think personally that it's better to just be able to listen. It's more personal. And audio adds to the opening of the mind's imagination. They get it better. When you have visual, it takes away from what you're actually listening to. And maybe you guys have a young someone on the station as a guest once a week, like Rosie.
We do. Rosie has doesn't she still do that, Josh Stevens?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Oh.
I didn't know she still did.
Oh. Maybe
And-
I'm wrong. Maybe I'm living in the 2 decades past. Because she used to interview a high school student, and then when that student got too old and left the area, she interviewed another high school student to get the perspective of a young person.
There are so many really great, bright young ones. So just to have somebody going out there and finding them. But I think a poster would be a great idea. And again, the reason why I called, I wanted to say thank you so much for giving a shout-out to Dave Allen. I met him many years ago. We even dated a little bit.
Dated? Wow.
Well, he's full-blooded Portuguese. And
He is a full-blooded Portuguese.
And boy, did he have a mouth. He always said what he meant. But he showed
There was a terrible, disgusting joke, but it was so funny that I played it anyhow. I mean, I would encourage him to tell it.
It was one of a kind. He was special, and if he hadn't waited over an hour to get help when he had his stroke, he would probably still be with us.
Yeah.
It was really awful.
Although it was amazing that he lived 16 years after that brain stem stroke that all the doctors said should have killed him right then.
Well, Portuguese are known for their stubborn. There's a word for him, it's teimoso. It means stubborn boy in Portuguese. He is very stubborn. He was absolutely determined he was going to make it. And he recorded. He had tons of cassettes in his bedroom.
I have a lot of them right here at the station, believe it or not. Yeah, in his Sarah, his daughter, brought them down in a briefcase.
I hadn't seen her in years. I'm so glad she gave them to you because the last time I saw her, she was a teenager and very overwhelmed with trying to take care of her father, and then she had the little brother too.
Yeah.
When he'd visit. But anyway, I didn't mean to take up your time. But you guys are wonderful, and whoever said that their mother first introduced them to KGO Talk Radio in San Francisco.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. Yeah.
Well, that was my introduction too, as well as KFOG. Wonderful. There is nothing that comes close to what talk radio is. And the uniqueness of KSCO is only going to grow more precious and more valuable as this crazy world marches on. I wouldn't want to change anything.
Oh, what kind words. Thank you for stating them here on my program. I'm so excited. Thank you, Anna Marie. Have a good one. Okay, here is Wendell in Reno with an idea for a program for young'uns.
Yeah, Michael, I think what you might want to consider doing is having a substitution. Take the Charles Friedman program, and don't get me wrong, I have a lot of admiration for that man. But reduce him to the 1 day a week of the Dr. and Mrs. Future program and increase this to 5 days a week.
Increase which? Increase which?
The Dr. and Mrs. Future program.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Because Charles is great, God bless him, but, the old fogey music just goes so far, and I don't know how big an appeal it is to a younger audience, but the science and the new, fresh science that the Dr. and Mrs. Future show promotes is, I've talked it over with Rosemary Chalmers.
She's a huge fan of the Futures,
Yeah, I am too.
And so am I. Obviously, they're good personal friends of mine. But they have very busy lives, Wendell and Reno. And do you realize you don't just say, "Hey, we're expanding you to 5 days a week." There's a lot of work that goes into making that show the good show that it is.
Well, maybe they can't do 5 days a week, and maybe, that wouldn't be feasible. But what I'm saying is, if you want a younger audience and you want them to be loyal, I think one of the best ways to go about it is to fresh science. And that program promotes fresh science.
Right.
And you learn. When you listen to it, you learn. And, Charles has a good command of old-time music, but how interesting is that for the younger group? Not very. And I think the Dr. and Mrs. Future program is not only interesting and entertaining and informative, but I get a kick out of Mrs. Future. She's got a fantastic personality and terrific laugh, and I just love that program.
Well, great. So, yeah, maybe move more in that direction is what you're saying. Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, and as far as the Trump effect after the election.
Yeah, what happens if he's reelected?
Well, I think people are going to be very surprised. I don't think it's going to be as dramatic as everyone expects because, for one thing, the things that he is trying to do to help our country, I think a lot of people are just afraid, to come out and really expose the fact that they're endorsing him. And I think
Wendell, I appreciate what you're saying, and I agree with you, actually, but that's not the question. The question is what happens if Trump is. I'm not saying do you think he's going to be
very
elected?
little.
Really?
Very little. I don't think there's going to be the violence. I don't think there's going to be all the rioting and all this stuff that the media is trying to sensationalize about. I don't think that's going to happen. I think.
Boy, I sure hope you're right. I wish I agreed with you. I don't. I think this is going to be. I think all this violence up until now and all this Antifa stuff. I think it's going to be that's going to be a walk in the park compared to what I'm afraid is going to happen if he gets reelected. Which, of course, I hope he does. I do personally.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're going to find out. It's not that far away. What is it, about 2 weeks now? And
but I also don't believe we're going to know for sure because, for who knows? I mean, it might be longer than Bush versus Gore, which was a month, I think, right? So, but whatever. If he gets reelected, whether it's on election night, like he was elected, it was November 8th. Of 2016, that was election day, and it was November 9th, my anniversary of my birth. It was 2 a.m. on November 9th, and it was the best birthday present I ever received in my life, by far, when I got that news that he had been elected, because I thought the country was just inches away from going down the toilet back then, and we got the same problem now, except we have all these crazy people and all these high-tech people who don't want Trump to be elected and never thought there was a chance in hell for him to be elected the first time. But now they're very, very serious, and it's my understanding from talking to Zach Voorhees, the Google whistleblower that we've had on a number of times and whom I contacted yesterday, but he's so damn busy, his voice message was full, and I texted him and I didn't get a response back. There's a lot. What he's all about is removing the sweet deal that all these high-tech companies have had. It's impossible to sue them. Because they're considered platforms as opposed to publishers. And that's what Zach has been screaming about for a long time. Well, now, guess what? People in Washington, D.C. from both sides of the aisle, mostly Republicans, I think, because, the high-tech companies are mostly against the right wing thinking, political thinking. But I understand that people from both sides of the aisle are lobbying now that these companies that have become so big that they can influence everything and they can control. You're more powerful than the government in some ways. And so all Zach wanted to say, all he wanted, what he was lobbying for, is that these companies that were acting like publishers and really are publishers, not continue to be protected as platforms, right? So anyhow, that's another fascinating topic that I'd love to get into. They talked about it for a time on Flight 1080 last night. I thought it was a fascinating subject, and I wouldn't mind getting into that too. But just the two subject I've raised. What can we do to bring younger people into the fold in talk radio, and what's going to happen? And I sure hope you're right on, Wendell. Maybe nothing will, and maybe we can move forward, but I don't think so.
Well,
I think you ain't seen nothing yet with in terms of violence. I don't think you've seen nothing yet, and boy, do I hope I'm wrong.
Well, let's have a big celebration when he gets reelected. What do you say?
It's okay with me. I mean, I will certainly celebrate. Personally, and I was never much of a crowds person anyhow, even before COVID. I just, it's not to say I don't.
A party.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a party.
A party here at KSCO. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
and we would even invite the liberals, and they would be invited, and we would invite the Trump haters. No, we probably wouldn't, because they would probably bring violence with them. So, because they'll be so unhinged this time if he wins, after they've tried so hard, way harder than before. Last election, 2016, no one believed that Trump could get elected, so they just laughed at him. And then when he did get elected, they said, oh my God, especially Google. They said they changed the way they operate. They said the number one purpose for Google is to see to it that Trump does not get reelected. And boy, they've sure behaved like that, as have Facebook and all the other big tech companies. So anyhow, it is what it is. It'll be very interesting to see what happens, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope it all goes away when the election does. Thank you.
Right,
Thank you, Wendell, for calling 479-1080 in area 831. Here's our next caller, Gary in Santa Cruz, with some ideas to help poor old beleaguered KSCO.
Hey, I think that the best thing is, well, the guy was just talking about the younger crowd, and I think the guy you have on during the week, he plays the music from like the 30s or something.
Yeah, that's Charles Friedman.
Yeah, that might be a turnoff for a lot of the younger crowd. That's just one little observation. But the thing that I think most that I wanted to call about was I think there should be a program, either a weekly or maybe even a daily, that focuses on the local COVID situation. Nobody does that. The Sentinel doesn't do it.
Wow.
Because there's so much. There's updates. There's, we had 2 people dead in 3 months, and now we've got 27 or something like that. And so it's still bad. But there's nowhere you find anything. You look on the Sentinel, they're telling me a story about Georgia's COVID. Shoot, did I lose you?
No.
They're telling you about Georgia's COVID.
We're here, yeah.
It's all AP stories.
Right.
Nothing local, every now and then.
Hey, Gary, I think you're on to something. I'm going to advance that. Will you do me a favor? Will you nudge me? Because the older I get, the worse my memory gets.
Sure.
Would you send me an email? And that will nudge me to that'll ping me to talk this over with programming here at the radio station. I think that's a great idea. I really do.
It would be great if it was daily, because there's stuff that changes all the time.
Well, we could do an update or something. Maybe an update as part of the morning or afternoon drive show, or both.
Maybe just one weekly show, maybe Thursday before the weekend, so that you know what you can do this weekend.
Okay.
What's open, what's not. Maybe there's a guest, the person from the city, whoever is in charge, who can, talk about the current situation. But nobody ever says anything about what's going on in the paper. And this is a life and death matter.
Thank you for that very positive
and I think
suggestion.
people would tune in. I think people would tune in when they found out you were doing this for that particular hour or whatever.
It might attract some new people who are tuning in to hear what they can't hear anywhere else or see anywhere else. Thank you very much for your call to 479-1080. Appreciate it. Here is John in Marina. Hi, John.
Hey, good morning.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling excellent.
Good.
I just called because the dialogue in the beginning, challenging liberals. I've been listening to your station, probably going on 20 years. And I've called in quite a few times. I call it a Charlie show, who I really like, who's always treated me with respect, even though I disagreed with him on most things. I think you just you don't give us enough credit. A lot of times I can't call. But yeah, I enjoy your station. I enjoy listening to the Saturday special. That's one show I really try to catch on Saturday mornings if I can remember to turn it on.
Hey, thanks, John. Appreciate that. Wow.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
I don't like labels, but the world is full of labels. So would you categorize yourself as a liberal? It sounds like yes.
Yes, I would. But
that's
we all
great. I'm so happy
differ,
that you call in because Did you hear Dave earlier when he said?
Oh yeah, that's what prompted me to call in.
I see. Okay, great. So
he more than baited us.
Maybe. Well, but I gotta say, why is it that it's a totally free forum and we don't censor anybody unless people don't live by the rules? If they keep calling and getting indignant, and demand to get on multiple times during a program, we don't care what their politics are. That breaks the rule. But we want more liberal people because I think there's a preponderance of conservative opinion, but that's only, I think, because people choose to call. The people who choose, the majority of the people who choose to call in to KSCO have conservative viewpoints. But I really appreciate it when other people call in. But I sort of share Dave's, he just hits you over the head with it. He says they're cowards. I don't. Obviously, you're not a coward. So.
No, and I think it's just humankind. You want to listen to and you want to participate in someone that agrees with you. So I think most, not all your hosts are conservative, like Charlie and Rush Limbaugh. So they're going to call in. You're going to get, and most conservatives listen to that. And
don't
I think
if
it was liberal shows.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
If it was liberal shows, I think you would probably have more liberals listening to it, calling in.
Oh, for sure.
It's
a delicate balancing act. All I want to do is have it be a radio station for everyone and a voice for everyone who chooses to use it. That's all.
I think you do. I mean, you have a great variety, on the show. You have the people of different sexual have their own show on. I think it's Saturday night or Sunday night. So it's. You do go out, and I do appreciate that. I do say at times you do try to draw out controversy to the detriment of the community.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about that. I'm very interested. Okay, give me an example.
Easily.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm being kind of hyperbole, but you had the racist radio show. And I called into a radio show quite a few times. I wasn't well received, but that's okay. I'm thick enough skin I don't need her to, say nice things to me.
Yeah.
But I think that show did a lot of damage to your station and the reputation of your station.
Wow.
Personal opinion.
I hate to say it, but I agree with you.
Yeah.
That was the biggest mistake we ever made when the host changed, because the host started just being, I thought, and we thought at KSCO, of a local female version of Rush Limbaugh. But something changed when Trump was elected, and the person totally became very different, and it started attracting you would think a radio station would appreciate the audience, the biggest size audience possible, from all factions, from any points of view and so forth. But you know what? The people that were being attracted to this station, I'm ashamed to say, were bad people that I'm ashamed of, that I don't even want to be attracted to this. I don't want people I don't want nasty, racist, Jew-hating, Holocaust-denying people putting out websites all over the world that says there's this great radio station in Santa Cruz, California called KSCO that happens to be Jew-owned. You know, that was happening. Yeah. And no thank you. No thank you. And people tried to tell me. They begged me to understand. And there were two of us here at the radio station who refused to hear that message. We were in denial, and we were wrong. Biggest mistake we ever made. And you said it right on. It hurt our station big time. And I don't know if we'll ever recover from that. I really don't know.
I think you will, because you have a good station. You know, I try to be the person, you know, that doesn't try to, you know, beat up people of the other political persuasion, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you have an excellent station.
It brought in another thing. It brought in, forget about the racist. You know, it brought in a negative element. It brought in a lot of negative callers who are just downers, who you know, you wonder why they're even alive, because they're so unhappy and so angry and have such knots in their stomach. And when the host went away, all those people went away too, at least as callers. Now, I just got one. I still get emails from whom I call trolls. I got one just a few minutes ago, and I'm not even going to dignify it. I'm not even going to dignify it. So we learned a lot. We learned a lot from that experience. And you'd think, because it just happened within the last couple of years, and you'd think that after 28 years, you'd learn, you know, you wouldn't make those kinds of mistakes. But I guess it's better to get smart late than never, you know.
True.
Yeah, Josh Stevens is nodding his head. So anyhow, hey, I really appreciate your call. And I appreciate the fact that you characterize yourself as a liberal and that you appreciate KSCO and take advantage of it, and as a caller from time to time. Thank you for calling the Saturday special. Josh wants to say something. Josh wants to say something before John hangs up.
Real quickly. So this discussion led me to also realize that working here and learning more about views that I don't necessarily agree with has helped me become a better person, in the sense of being able to process different views and find common ground with those that back in the day I would not even bother to dignify such a case. So that's kind of a magical element of talk radio here, is being able to not always agree with these hosts, but being able to find that common ground and possibly bring us together as a nation. We need more of that.
Yeah, that I agree with you. And you do have hosts that do welcome you. And I spoke of Charlie Friedman.
He's pure class. He's definitely conservative. He's definitely Republican, and he's pure class. But he's a gentleman to everybody.
Always made me feel welcome every time I've called this show, and been very graceful to me, even though we don't agree on anything.
Yeah. Hey, so listen. Thank you for calling, John and Marita, Gary in Santa Cruz, Bert in Aptos, and Nick in Boulder Creek. Please stay with us. We're at the end of hour number 1 of the KSCO Saturday special. We got news at the top of the hour in about 15 seconds. We hope you'll stay with us for hour number 2 and continue the topic of what happens if Trump gets reelected. What will happen to our country?
Outside today, we're expecting a high of 64, partly sunny skies, patchy fog overnight with lows in the low 50s. Time now for more of the Saturday special. Let's begin hour 2 on AM 1080 KSCO.
Josh Stevens, would you like to earn $10,000?
Nice, as always. Yes.
Okay, we have a list. Cosmic Joe Jordan has sent an email that I will read. It's an opportunity for you or Dave Michaels, I think even me. But anyhow, I'll read it here right after we do this, because I don't want to forget it like I tend to do here. We have to do this to start it.
Oh, hello, darling. I hate to hang up on you, but I'm sorry, baby, but I have to go. It's time for that wonderful record show.
Oh, I'm reading Cosmic Joe's email, so I'm not talking in the donut like I used to. I mean, like I should.
I'm sorry, baby, but I really gotta go to KSCO Radio. Bye.
And it is a very interesting email. Okay, here it goes. Let's see who the cowards are. Yeah, I think it's cowards. Yeah, coward, in quotes and a question mark. That's in the subject line of this email, right? And it's an on-air bet here. Let's see who the cowards are. And then I'll check back sometime in your second hour because, like most progressives, I simply do not have time to sit around listening to insults and attitude. I'll give $10,000 to any listener or Dave Michaels or Josh Stevens who proves that Trump's constant claims are not lies about mail-in voting as massively fraught with fraud, etc. Prove it, Trump and adoring followers. This is just one of dozens of such bets I can make and would always win about T's claims if anyone out there will show courage of conviction. Let's see how many bold, truth-seeking, well-informed takers you can get for this. Let me know. And that's from Cosmic Joe Jordan, who's a great host. I mean, we have him. He used to have the show
Planet Watch.
Planet Watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I ran into him at New Leaf. And
I hope
he
it
told me
wasn't with
about
your car.
I didn't have a car at the time, so no.
Okay. Good. Now, he's a good guy, but he's very frustrated about, he doesn't like the tone. I don't need to tell people. The email said it all. Anyhow, there you have it. I'm going to take our next caller, whoever that is. It'll be the person who's waited the longest. And that would be Gary in Santa Cruz. I think it's it's a different Gary from the other Gary.
This is Gary too.
Okay. Hi, Gary.
Hi. Hey, so I was listening to Josh talk about how he got interested in AM radio, and it got me thinking about how I got interested in it. And I'm slightly older than you, Michael, so I'm really old. But anyway,
I'll say, because I'm about to turn 69 in like a week and a half or something.
Well, I'm 69 and a half right now, so I got you beat by about 6 months.
Does it hurt to turn 69?
Very much. Yes,
Damn.
You're not going to like it at all.
Damn.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm sorry
well,
to tell you.
All right.
In any case, so when I was in 7th grade, I got a Christmas present from, I don't even remember who, but it was a crystal set radio.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of that?
Of course. Yeah,
Oh,
in the Cub Scout, wolf thing, in the handbook, it showed you how to make one of those things.
Yeah, well, probably anybody, a couple of years younger than us might not know what they were, but they still make them. But that's how I got into radio. AM radio was listening to a crystal set. And from there,
Was it KSCO perchance?
I don't remember.
Because we have the strongest signal. Well, yeah, back then it would have been an old fogey music station.
It
not
had old
a talk
music.
Radio.
It had old music. It might have been KSCO very well. Yeah.
I'm willing to bet it was if it was in Santa Cruz because we got lots of complaints that people we have such a good ground signal, and that people have complained that they hear Rush Limbaugh in their fillings in their head that they can't get out, and that makes them go crazy, especially if they don't like Rush Limbaugh. If they like him, it's okay,
So before I forget, I want to ask you something about Dave Allen.
Yes.
I used to listen to the Nighthawk every night, and I would be laying in bed listening to my transistor radio, not a crystal set, but a transistor radio, and at the end of his show, he had his ending music. Do you know what that was? What his name?
No, I don't. But
fantastic.
if you want, I mean, it's like 10 or 12 minutes, I think.
Yes.
No. The scope I referred to. I could play that. I think I've got it in my email. I think I could do I think I emailed it to myself, a few months ago or a year or two ago, and I could play that if you really want to hear it. And I think
what I'd like to do is find out what it is, because I'd like to, be able to.
Well, we could play it on Fandango, play it to one of those, music identification,
Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam. That's what it is. Yeah. So hey, let's do that.
I'll Shazam it.
I'm gonna see if I can find it. Okay. So
Okay, I'll be listening.
thank you for
I got one
calling
more-
in, Gary. Oh, okay.
I got
go ahead.
one more thing.
Go ahead.
So you were talking about what will happen with the election if Trump wins.
Yes. No, with the country. Yeah.
I think that the violence will continue, like you. I think it will possibly even get worse, and he may have to put on the Insurrection Act.
I'm not sure I know what that is. I think, I think I can figure it out, and I think you're right. That's what I think is going to happen. He'll make quick work of it with the National Guard and so forth. People have saying, a lot of people I've talked to said there ain't enough National Guard people to quell that kind of a disturbance. If Trump gets reelected, the people who don't like him will tear this country apart. Tear it apart.
They're going to try. I have a feeling, because this is all about imposing socialism and Marxism on the United States. This is their last hurrah, and I think they were very disappointed when Trump won the first time. It blew him away, and they have never stopped going after him since he got in office. Not one single day.
Right.
So I believe that it's going to continue. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But in any case, I'll let you go.
I hope you are, and I hope I am too.
Yeah,
okay?
Thanks.
Great, thank you. Okay, so our next caller will be Bert in Aptos. Hey, Bert, something about podcasting, huh?
Yeah, if I wanted to promote my radio station, I'd put up some podcasts.
We've been doing it for longer than anybody, obviously not longer, but for a long, long time, for, 15 years or so.
Well, you have 4. You have 4 podcasts.
Every show that we produce.
You have a recording.
Yeah. Okay. So educate me, because you're probably right. Go ahead.
Well, if you look at any of the aggregators and you search for KSCO, you're going to come up with Dead Doctors Don't Lie, The Future Show, your show, and the Pet Radio Show, and that's it. The rest of the shows are dark. They're not found.
They don't have show notes.
No. Well, yeah. I mean, most of them don't.
You
don't have show notes, and
well, most of the local shows don't have show notes.
Well, they're not the show notes that count.
Well, it's the show notes that make it searchable, so that people entering keywords.
No, you have to register it with the index, and the only way you can do that is you need to have an RSS feed on these. And so with all of my podcasts that I get, I get up in the morning, they're all on my phone, including yours. I've got 37 Saturday specials on my phone, just waiting for me to go through them.
Oh my God! You mean that's how many you haven't listened to?
Well, that's how many I haven't listened to in person, or not in person.
You mean not live?
Yeah, I've listened live, but I have the podcast, and like if you cover a subject and I don't have time to listen to it, I have it on my phone. It's right there in my pocket. I listen to it.
How cool!
And well, that's the way podcasting works.
Thank you.
And podcasting is where the information and the stuff comes to me. I don't go looking for it. All I did was I just set up, subscribe to your RSS feed, and it comes to me. And there's 4 shows that you can do that on KSCO. And so the thing is I think that what you should do is take, for instance, Charlie. He covers I know he's an old fart and he's a conservative, but I enjoy him. And sometimes he goes into a subject that I really want to indulge in, but I got to get out of the car.
Sure.
And so how do I do it then? I've got other things to do. Well, with the podcast on my phone, when I'm driving home, I could just pop Charlie back on again.
Hey, Bert, thank you so much. I've known about RSS feeds since they were invented. And you're absolutely right. I feel like a fool Not
Well, the guy that invented the RSS feeds, the Podfather, he's got new podcast index, and so what you should do
who
is
is
you
that?
should-
Who is that?
Adam Curry.
Okay, I thought you were going to say Adam Curry, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, he's the Podfather. He's the guy that invented all this crap. And so what he did was he and Dave Weiner, I believe it was, they married together audio files with an RSS feed, and bing-a-boom, there's a podcast. Now the problem is that the keepers of the podcast index has always been Apple. And Apple has the ability to put up what you want, what they want, and what they don't want. Well, the podcast index is a free index, and it's an open source thing. And you can go and you can register your podcast there, and they'll be found. They'll be searchable, and you can use anything. I use Castbox, Gpod, or any one of the aggregators would be able to then find it. So that's what I would suggest.
Bert, you live in Aptos?
Yeah.
Okay. But did you used to live in the Bay Area?
Yeah, I've been around here for 30-some years.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm not gonna disclose it, but I noticed you have a 415 phone number here. So.
That's just a job site I'm calling from.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. And
great.
so the other thing is that Trump gets reelected.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen?
Tell me.
All hell's going to break loose, and you're going to need a Bitcoin.
Thank you for bringing that up too. Yeah, when you say all hell is going to break loose, do you think our whole monetary system will collapse?
I don't know, but there's going to be hell in the streets.
Well, that's what I think too. But so, what about the Bitcoin? I mean,
well, Bitcoin's up to 13,000 now. So
for one coin, yeah.
Yeah, so if you bought in back in once upon a time. And I'm sitting pretty because I got a nickel.
A nickel?
Yeah, not a lot of Bitcoin, but I got a nickel of Bitcoin. So.
So that means That means 1/20th of $13,000 is what that's worth.
I got like $750, and it was something that was just given to me back in the days when Bitcoin just started.
Right.
And so I started mining, and there was another thing that was just giving away Bitcoins at the time, and so they just threw me a nickel. I'd never made much success with mining, but I should have pursued it more because, Bitcoin's up there. It's a sketchy thing, but I mean, it's something to have in case your bank fails.
Yeah, geez. Yeah, what? I guess that's a valuable topic to discuss on talk radio, which we certainly don't enough. All right, hey, thank you for calling 479-1080. Appreciate it very much. Richard in Watsonville, welcome back.
Thank you. Mike, I wanted to talk about life after Trump wins.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about. That's great.
I can see us becoming real good friends with North Korea. Real good friends.
Uh-huh.
Combine the South and the North, get all the weapons over there pointed at China, Russia. Don't worry about those people again. I mean, these people that you have during the week, they're okay, but hey, they're not showing any toughness, you know. And after that, I can see a whole lot of stuff going on with people doing joint things together. I mean, making this world one heck of a place to live in. Mm-hmm. And I can see that Russia and China will combine as one, and you'll have the same thing going on here, going on over there. Don't you see that? Seems like everything we do, the world copies. You notice that?
I don't know. It seems like an awful lot of people in this country are trying to copy what's going on in China. You know, socialism and communism.
Well, they're trying it, but the only thing that makes sense to me is Medicare for all. Okay, as far as socialism, anything, because that's what the military does. Uh-huh. That's what the veterans do. Why don't the civilians pick it up and do it? You know, it's there. You know who's going to be unhappy if you do it is the doctors, the hospitals.
Because they'll make less money?
Of course. It'll be like Canada. They won't come down here from Canada. It'll be different.
But I know they still do come down here and if it's something that's
The rich ones do.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Joe
what
Blow don't come down here from Canada.
That's what I've
Joe
heard.
Blow from here goes up to Canada to get cheaper prescriptions filled and stuff, right?
Yeah, or hopefully through the mail so that they don't have to go up there.
Well, Trump's changed all that. Now we're favored nation status.
Jeez.
So we're going to get the same price as what they charge in other countries.
Well,
or they're going to pay hell for it in tariffs. That's what the deal is. You know, I can see the guys, the farmers and the dairymen and all this stuff doing a whole lot more business feeding the rest of the world than just us. There's a lot of land out there. Yeah, we're burning it every day. Forest fires everywhere, man. I can see the forest fire thing coming to an end, too. You got a fire, you go and put it out. It doesn't go like, it's going now. This is pathetic. Have a truck. All these fire trucks, Mike. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter how big the fire truck is, they're only allowed to have 3 people in it. These great big fire trucks going down the street and stuff and only have 3 people in it. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with that picture?
That's a lot wrong with that picture. But real quickly,
repeat what you said. I just put the button so that he can hear you.
There's a lot wrong on that picture, but real quickly, since you mentioned the firefighters, because of this event we just had, I almost didn't make it into the station today. And that was because I went out for a hike with one of my friends up Gazos Creek, and even though they reopened the road, there was a tree that was still smoldering in its roots, and it tumbled down and effectively landlocked us in because it was just past that last road you can make a left. So we were stuck in between the end of Gazos Creek, halfway up to Cloverdale Road, and we were there for a good 6 or 7 hours until the fire troops or fire department was able to come get us. And they even had to get a second unit because the tree was so thick it messed up their chainsaw. So we're in for one heck of a season in general, notwithstanding the election, but just because of the fact we are still going to have to deal with the aftermath of that lightning fire. And on that note, there was way more than 3 firefighters in that truck I noticed. So I don't know if that's like a universal rule or not, but feel free to elaborate on that more if you could, Richard.
You made it. You made it to work.
I did. It was a miracle.
I mean, all that stuff just to get to work, that's quite a... Imagine if the tree would have landed on you.
Yeah, no, it was 30 feet or so away from us.
Next question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and ask your next question, Richard in Watsonville.
Well, I didn't have a next question. I thought he was going to ask me the next question.
Sorry. Okay.
I want to know what did you, I was asking him just about the whole, he said the 3 fire department, 3 firefighters per truck roll. Where did you get that from?
Long time, man. And I can't figure out why they can't put more people on there. I'll tell you another thing I don't like. I don't like it when somebody calls the radio station and says their house is burning down, and there's a fire truck at the end of the driveway that won't help them because it's not life-threatening, okay? And let the house burn, even though the people had a swimming pool in the back. Plenty of water. Let the place burn up in Bonnie Doon. I don't think that's too good at all. I don't think that when the lightning strikes on the fire, that you sit there and wait for 3 days before you go and fight the fire. And that's what happened when the lightning struck. We had the fire. The first thing they did is they had to fight again over whose jurisdiction it was. Next thing they had to do is call the highway patrol and have them come in there and close the roads.
Yep.
Then they had to have the highway patrol the next day seal up the roads and turn it all over to the county sheriff's office so they could keep everybody out of those places. Then they brought down 12 fire trucks. 12 fire trucks went in there to get on their horns and tell everybody to evacuate. This is all before they started fighting the fire. Because the fire was in a bad area, blah, blah, blah. You know, they had all these excuses. They're waiting for people from Australia, people from New Jersey, a truck from Oklahoma or something.
Yeah, there was a lot
We should be more prepared for these fires in our own town instead of relying on this Cal Fire and all these fire guys that
And
really don't want to fight the fire. They don't fight the fire at nighttime.
my main reason, my main reason.
The stuff that's coming out, the red stuff coming out of those airplanes, permanent laydown, folks. Nothing's going to grow once it hits the ground there.
Well,
nothing will grow again. They're throwing that stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
You want the white stuff coming out of the airplane. That's not permanent. It's temporary laydown.
Hey, Richard and Watsonville, change of the subject here. You were a friend of Dave Allen's.
Very good friend.
Yeah, I found in the email it says 10 megabyte, but it's 20-minute scope promo. I can play some of it. I can play some.
Nah, man. You know, we all remember Dave Allen, or we don't.
Oh,
Dave Allen was one of those guys. He was in the moment, and if you weren't there to experience that guy, you didn't get it.
But still, don't you think I should play some of it? I thought it was maybe 10 or 12 minutes.
Me.
Okay, I'm going to play just for Josh's.
Towards the end of his life or towards the beginning of his life?
It doesn't matter. I mean, he was the character throughout his life. I mean, unbelievable. Boy, a perfect fit on KSCO.
I remember one guy calling you up saying on the Saturday special, said, I can't understand a goddamn word he's saying. You remember that?
No.
And
well, after he had his stroke, he was a little harder to understand.
Oh, it got worse, man. He had another fall,
Yeah.
He got worse towards the end.
Okay, I'm going to play a little bit of it, but I want to. The Stephen King killed John Lennon guy is up next, and then Mary.
Listen, I want to talk to that guy.
Oh, you want to?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
I want to bring his cage a minute too.
Okay, hold on a second. I'll lock him in. No, I'll lock you in, and then bring Steve. Okay. Okay, you're on the air.
Hey, Steve.
Can you hear me, Michael?
Yes. Yeah, I hear you just
Great.
fine.
Thank you for taking my call.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the reason I call is to comment on the politics.
Wait. Just let the caller call first, and then Richard can ask you, because you're both on together.
Yeah, the reason I'm calling is just to get my 2 cents on the politics, what's going on. One of your callers saying that the socialist, communist parties of the world are out to do America in, and this is their last hurrah. Well, he's absolutely right. And most of the people who are against Trump underappreciate this fact about our politics. Years ago, I would have been in their same camp thinking that, that's a bunch of nonsense. No, folks. Putin hates Putin and Bush and all these establishment types of people hate Trump. And they love Obama and Hillary and Biden. I'll tell you what. In 2010 and 2015, I have reason to believe Obama tried to take me out via very high-speed traffic accidents where nobody was cited. In one case, the intersection was paved over the following day. Obama stinks trying to kill me, I think. Therefore,
he owes some favors to Yoko Ono.
Yoko Ono is evil. Yoko Ono is evil. She's as evil as Stephen King.
She would love to have you dead, too.
She had me kidnapped and pistol whipped to within an inch of my life in 1987 in the back of a SFPD police van.
Listen, man, I want to ask you a question. You remember the old days of Art Bell when Liberal Charlie and Dr. Democrat and all those guys were calling, right? You were one of those guys calling.
Well, I didn't call very often because I didn't want to frame my case with the Bigfoot and the alien crowd. I didn't want to associate myself with that crowd.
Do you remember a guy named the World Citizen?
The World Citizen? Maybe not. I've been only on talk radio since
you're the guy, right, Richard?
I'm it.
Yeah.
And he was on the air one night with Art Bell as a caller, and Art went to a commercial. Came out of the commercial, but during the commercial, he put Steve on hold with me, and I'm sitting there talking to Steve, and I say, "Hey, man, where are you from?" He goes, "Monterey." I said, "I'm from Watsonville." "Where are you at?" "Over in Monterey." And he says he's a chef at the. He said he was a chef at a restaurant down by the beach in Monterey. And I never got to meet you, but
when Lennon was shot, I was cooking steak and lobster as a boiler cook for the what then was called the DoubleTree Inn.
Down by the beach in Monterey. Now I see you driving around a new van. You had a blue van back then. I see you in a yellow-looking thing now. It's all done up, but it's not done up like the blue one was done up. The blue one had writing all over the van, man. But you remember those guys, huh?
I presented the actual meat of the matter for the viewers to judge for themselves what the evidence was on those days. Now, I have a website that pretty much just directs them that way.
And it's on your truck. I see you driving up down the highway all the time.
Yeah. Now,
I'm in that lowrider Mercedes.
Yeah.
I got a Mercedes that looks like a lowrider. So I'm beating
my
the horn
message regarding that website, Van, is this. We're only afraid of fear. We're only afraid of Stephen King. We're only living under fear, or we would wring his ass into jail in a heartbeat. We have been subdued. Literally, we've been subdued by the machine, by the media. And
Bill
the
would
media
never
hates
have
Trump.
this guy on, Michael. You know that?
What?
Art Bell never had this guy on.
I know. I mean, I don't know, but I believe it.
And he'd call every night. Bill just hated this guy. You know, he thought he was tricking him. He was going to sabotage his show and all this crap. And I think that's what got George Norrie so spooked, too, you know. I've never heard Steve here on his show, but...
Oh, you got through to George, haven't you, Steve?
Yeah, and he made gestures to have me on once, but I got the feeling. Yeah, I got the feeling from his handlers and his producers that they were setting me up, and I didn't want to be associated with the Bigfoot alien crowd anyway, so I turned that down.
Yeah, I used to see you over at Steamer Lane in Santa Cruz, and you had your van over there and all kinds of writing on the outside of the van. So
yeah, I'm being prosecuted. I'm being prosecuted by Jeffrey Roselle, the DA of Santa Cruz, falsely. They set me up based on a tip to a police officer with a rolling van forcing me into the front seat to stop it from wrecking at a time when I was about to get an operation. It was a FBI Santa Cruz police sting against me, and now they're trying to say I got a DUI and I've got to get my van off the street. We'll see where that goes, folks.
Were you under the influence of anything?
No, as a matter of fact, they waited for a year before they charged me, and they waited, and the drug test came back negative. The drug test came back negative. Anyone else, they would have said your case has been dismissed. But nope. After a year was up, illegally, after the year statute, they hauled me to court, and they're just trying to wring me over the rails right now for Stephen King. By the way, Stephen King emailed me during all this saying I've got connections. So these are the connections.
And you don't.
And they're trying to block me from mentioning Stephen King and John Lennon. Well, this Stephen King email that threatens me, saying he's got connections, probably these very people are molesting me in court. They're trying to say I can't bring that up.
Let me ask you about another guy, Stephen, a guy named the $27 trillion man. Do you know about him?
No.
Lee Wanta is his name. And Ronald Reagan gave him $185 billion to go and put Russia and China toes up, man. He did it. He made $27 trillion. And
you know what strikes me about Reagan?
Huh?
Reagan strikes me as a clone, like a Soviet-style clone of Stalin. His face.
You know, it does look familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Dark hair? Give him dark hair?
No, come on, you guys. What are you doing? What are you doing to our wonderful departed president? Anyhow, listen. Thank you, Richard and Watsonville, and thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Mike.
Lightfoot here. Always nice to hear. Now here's Mary in Aromas. Hi, Mary.
Oh, good morning.
Hi.
And I love your laugh.
My laugh?
Oh,
You mean that?
Thank you.
Oh.
I love Dave Allen. I keep your radio on, George Norrie. I listen to the doctor, what's his name?
Dr. Wallach.
Yes, then.
And Pharmacist Ben, yeah.
I listen to Rosemary. I wouldn't miss them. I listen to Limbaugh, so you know I'm on the radio all the time.
Right. Yeah, he's off quite a bit, but when he's on, he's sure on. Anyhow, would you like to hear some of Dave Allen now?
I love Dave Allen.
Okay, here. Thank you for calling. I'm going to play some of Dave Allen right now. I don't know how much I'll play. It depends on calls we get and how we have enough to play the whole thing, 20 minutes, but I don't think I will. We'll see. Thank you, Mary, for calling the station. We love hearing from you.
Next week's my 98th birthday.
Whoa!
And yours is a week later.
Whoa, that is great. Okay, we have to remember that here. Next week, what day of the week?
Second.
Oh, the 2nd. Okay, 2nd. Yeah, and mine's the 9th. 7 plus 2. Okay, great. We'll have to do something. I have to talk to Rosie or something. We have to figure out something nice to do.
All right, sweetheart.
Okay, thank you very much. There goes Mary in Aromas, and listen to this. Here, just listen to this.
This is the ZBS Radio Network. 8 hours, the Nighthawk.
You're listening to Dave Allen.
Yep, this is Mullen. You have got it.
Hey, wake up. Yeah, that's it. This is ZBS Radio Network. Dave Allen here. The Nighthawk. What do you think of that? Good. Because quite frankly, ma'am, I don't give a damn. Listen, we have Don Crutchfield, PI, private investigator to the stars, exposing and discussing a lot of different things that he's been privy to and things that clear up a lot of information that we always wondered about. But he's been on the Lisa Show and Hard Copy and Primetime Live with Diane Soya, Extra, Geraldo, Entertainment Tonight, Inside Edition, Current Affair. Tell you what, even 48 hours. That's right, with Dan Rather Not. Don, welcome back. We're talking a little bit about about Frank Sinatra, and also you mentioned the Beatles. You saved their career?
Yes.
What do you mean you saved their career?
Well, I'll tell you, this was back around 1965. It was after they'd done the Sullivan Show, and they were touring, and actually they did the Hollywood Bowl, and there was a gay lover of Brian Epstein, their manager.
Mm-hmm.
They had a bitter breakup, and this guy was a pretty cunning type of guy.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
He knew their movements and everything. They were staying at the Beverly Hills Hotel in a bungalow.
Now, who's the cunning guy? Epstein's lover? Or?
His lover.
Okay.
Yeah. And this guy was he was a young guy, but he was a pretty good crook. I got to say that for him.
A hustler and a stalker.
He was a good challenge, And so what he did was he broke into the Beatles' bungalow at the Beverly Hills Hotel, stole Brian Epstein's briefcase. Now, in that briefcase contained some contracts, some papers. Some might have even been a little controversial. $20,000 in cash, which in today's money would have been $200,000.
That's right. That was no chump change back then.
No, this guy bought a brand new Austin Healey and a wardrobe and all kinds of stuff with that. And drugs that Brian carried for the boys. So anyway, the guy makes off with this, and so he goes through the money. Then through intermediaries, he lets Brian know that, hey, you got to come up with $25,000. I'll give you the briefcase intact with the exception of the money, or I'm going to the press with this, that you got drugs for the kids. Now, see, we didn't realize how Puritan we were in those days, but we get called in, so we're talking to Brian, and Brian says, look, you got to understand something. He says, mothers do not want their kids to see the Beatles because they think their hair is too long. And this is when they were squeaky clean. I mean, they
find out they had a prescription for a little upper rest.
No, these guys had all kinds of stuff there. But
wait a minute, what time was this period? Before they went hippie or smoking pot?
Yeah. I mean, when they had the great hand-tailored suits, and they were just mop tops, man. I mean, they were clean-cut kids,
Yeah.
And so he says, but, when they don't want them to see them because their hair is too long, you throw drugs in that mix, and we're dead. And I said, yeah, but you can't pay this guy, because if you do, you're going to have to pay him the rest of your life. So anyway, we set up a chain of talking to this guy through intermediaries. We'd have to run ads in the paper. The guy wanted $25,000. And so finally he felt comfortable, and he says, all right, I want you to meet me at Los Angeles Airport. There was a grassy area when you first come into LAX, which doesn't exist anymore. He said, be standing there with the money. We'll make the switch, and I'm gone. And I said, you got a deal. So the guy comes pulling in the back of a taxi, which really threw me off. And when he opened the door, I just grabbed his face and pulled him out of there. And I had two Beverly Hills cops hiding in the bushes. and we grabbed this guy and we took him.
Well, that's like theft and.
Yeah, but we took him to the police station and we had Brian come in there. And we said, Brian, is this your briefcase? And he said, because I got to diffuse some things here, you know. And so he says, yeah, it's my briefcase. And I said, open it up and tell me if your stuff's in there. And he opens it up and he says, well, my money's gone. These looks like my contracts and everything, but
what's this dope doing in here?
Well, what's this stuff in the baggie? And this guy stood there. He goes, "Hey man, that ain't my drugs. That's your drugs." And I says, "Now wait a minute." I says, "There's a law in the state of California. It's called possession, and you have possession of these drugs. These are not our drugs. These are your drugs." And they drug this guy away screaming on, "It's not my drugs." This guy did time for the Beatles' drugs, and later on they come out and says, "We do drugs. What are you going to do about it?" You know, but that was after they had real good footing, you know. But it could have ended their career. I'm not saying it would have, but I look back on it now and I think, you know, you dummy, if you'd have made one false move or one wrong move, you could have screwed up the Beatles' career and we wouldn't have heard all those great songs, you know.
Okay, where are we? We're right here on the ZBS Radio Network. That's where we are. And if you're lucky enough to be listening, you're tuned in right here with the Nighthawk. That's me, Dave Allen. And if you've been paying attention throughout the week, we've been having one kick-butt show after another. That's right. And I warned you people last night that tonight we're going to have a even more special program with David John Oates. That's right, Reverse Speech Enterprises. You've probably heard him before in the Nighthawk as well as elsewhere. Seems he's here, there, and everywhere around the country right now. He's on TV talk shows. He's on radio talk shows. Australian native. Founder of and developer of the reverse speech technologies, having researched and documented the phenomenon for 14 years now. Now, you might have heard him before. If you haven't, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll be patient and bring you people up to speed. He proposes a theory that language is twofold, forwards and backwards. And by analyzing speech reverse, right, this newly discovered voices and unconsciousness may be easily heard by the trained ear. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to jump right to it. What do you think of that? Dave, hey, welcome back. It's been a while since we had you on here, and it's a pleasure to have you back.
Yeah, hey, Dave. It's always good to be on your show. Yeah, it's been quite some time. I'm not too sure how long it's been now, but here I am.
Well, at least on the Nighthawk, you could hang loose a little bit.
Right. I always like your shows because you have this very casual, relaxed format, and you let me be more of who I really am, which is very nice.
You're listening to Dave Allen,
The Nighthawk.
Because with Dave Allen, you don't miss a lick.
You're good. Oh, yeah, you're good.
Jonathan Blank here on the Nighthawk this evening, folks. The Nighthawk, that's right, Dave Allen. Oh, thank you very much. Okay, listen. We're going to get back to the phone banks, and we're going to talk about sex, drugs, and democracy. The Netherlands, Holland, where they have these problems before, and they eliminate it by doing certain things. Like, you give people enough rope, they'll hang themselves. The rest of them, they'll just test it out, and they'll save themselves. Might be something to it. Okay, Nick, you're back on the air with Jonathan Blank here. Now, you were saying? Hey, I could use that. You're hired.
Oh, Dave, I really enjoy your music that you have on the air most of the time. And
you don't like my antics?
No, I really do enjoy your music, and I do like your shows quite a bit. It's just, I really did think that the awareness of men was a little bit higher than it is. I'm really shocked.
Most men are totally aware of women.
I mean, you know what I'm talking.
Yeah, I do. That's right. Why do men and women think of sex about 70% of the time?
But I'm very surprised to hear it talked about in this fashion.
What fashion? This has been going on for centuries now.
Well,
that's the universe.
But you're saying that it's okay just to go down the street and just to do this?
I'd rather have it done in a brothel where it's organized and it's sane and legal and safe and clean, like they have in Nevada in 13 out of 17 counties, than to see some yo-yo ho-ho walking down the street, scabby rhythm with a needle hanging out of her arm.
What about the handicapped people?
That's right.
That looks very ununattractive.
Mickey, what about
you're talking about, Dave?
Yeah, and what about handicapped people? Let's face it, there is people that are handicapped that will never, ever, probably ever find a mate, find a marriage partner. They're supposed to be denied sexual experience.
I can understand that. I really can.
So there you have it. There are a lot of people that are handicapped in one way or another, and they have trouble.
That's right.
You know, and it's saying, you know, that you wish that they could find true happiness is wonderful, but the reality is that a lot of people can't, and it's better that they have a clean, safe, decent place to go when they're real lonely and alone than to send them out onto the street.
Now,
where
what about these people that have, like, date rape? What about these aggressive people that, I don't know, maybe eat too much raw meat, and they go out and they rape or they do other things? If they go out there and blow it out somewhere else, then, hey,
I understand what you're saying in that way.
It is the world's oldest profession.
In the way that you explained it to me, it sounds much different than the way that it was being come across to me
And let me tell
earlier.
you something. Let me tell you something, okay? You know, if a man and woman are married, if they're together, if they're gay, if they love each other, they're the item, they're a couple, and they're happy and content, the man ain't going to go sniffing around. He ain't going to have no desire to do that. You know, he ain't going to care about it, neither will the woman. As a matter of fact, in some of these places, the woman will actually get her husband, I guess, what do you call that, a gift certificate to the brothel. I'm serious as a heart attack. They do this stuff.
Does your wife do that, Dave?
I don't have a wife. I live in the People's Republic of Santa Cruz County, and even though I'm a lesbian myself, it's still
You're divorced?
Divorced?
Well, you have a daughter.
We're talking about sex, drugs, and democracy.
Not the Nighthawk.
That's right.
Okay.
Why? Are you divorced?
No, I'm not even going to go there. But
No, you can ask me this.
No, well, you said that there are some wives that'll give their husbands a gift certificate. And
That's right.
It says your wife.
They do this. I've
never heard of that.
Am I right, Jonathan?
You know, I don't know.
You buy them vouchers.
Ask Dave.
This happens all the
I
time.
don't know.
They do this over in Nevada at these Mustang ranches and all that kind of stuff. Oh,
I
yeah.
can't believe it.
There.
And I don't think that sitting around on a TV station butt naked is very attractive either.
Oh,
Well,
man. You have a body complex?
Wait till you see the people.
I suppose you've never been to a nudist beach or camp.
I'd much rather see somebody dressed very attractively than with no clothes.
I'd rather see them both ways. Let's
A
see what...
whole room full of people.
Okay, we'll go to Vince quick, and then I'm going to ask Cynthia a question. Vince, you're on Z Air. What do you think of that?
Yeah, they're a Nighthawk. What are you there?
Yes, and Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Yeah.
Can I turn Vince up a little bit better? We can't hear him quite well.
Yeah. You want to hear this? I was just listening here, and I heard you were talking about the mob and the Vatican there. And I just want to let you know that the Vatican is run by the mob. Like the Pope, you know, he's the grand poobah of everything, you know.
Well, that's what that guy said today.
Yeah, well, it's true. You know, I mean, I'm sort of one of the underlings, but I've been around enough to know who's really pulling the strings around here. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you know, I just thought you'd like to know.
Okay, that's very interesting.
All right.
Okay, Vince. Well, Vince, thank you for calling. I'll let you get back to your bowl of pasta.
Hey, not a problem. You know, I got no.
All right, man. Manja.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk to you again. This is ZBS. This is ZBS Radio Network. Where else?
Yep, I love them all.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here. This is ZBS Radio Network. I'm your host, Dave Allen, the Nighthawk. Our guest this evening, Cynthia Turner, is joining us here on the Nighthawk on ZBS. And what she's talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is could it be, when you look through all the Bibles and the Scriptures, all right, now remain open-minded, okay? I believe that there is a supreme creation of everything that is, was, or that ever. I also believe that, yes, there are beings in this universe vastly superior in advance to us measly humans. You don't like that? Too bad. You look at the scale of things. There are galaxies that are billions of years older than this one. There are planets that are billions of years older than ours. Matter of fact, if you look at our own galaxy, we're about 2/3 of the way out. We started in the middle, we expand outward. What about those planet systems in our galaxy with those suns that are out near the edge that have had a few million years advance timing on us? Now, you're going to be some kind of, I don't know, narrow-minded being if you believe that we're the only thing that is. Why don't you just go back and go argue that one with poor people like Leonardo da Vinci, for example? I mean, you know that there has been beings in this universe that have been here way before us, and probably well advanced of us in biological research, technological research, science. Who knows? And I'm sure that these beings have been messing around with genetic codes, genes, chromosomes, experimenting, cloning, which we now do, millions of years ago. What do you think of that? Cynthia, welcome back.
Hi there.
So then, we have a caller online.
Okay.
And, you know what? Let's go to that caller. Let's go to Jim.
But let's say there's a higher race out there, higher intelligence, much higher than us, and they're PO'd with people on the earth. They say they screwed up real bad. We're going to put each of them on trial for treason. Now, my question is this. Let's assume this happens. Who would you get as an attorney? Who on the earth? It's got to be an earth person. Could be Socrates, could be Aristotle, could be somebody else.
Well,
but
I can
who would you
answer
get
that.
as an attorney?
I can answer that. His
Okay,
name
go
is-
ahead. I hope you can, because hardly anybody answers it right.
His name is Yeshua, and that's Jesus in the original Hebrew text. And see, if you study this Bible code stuff, Yeshua is encrypted all the way through the Old Testament. Everywhere there's a messianic prophecy, Yeshua's name appears. That's the name of Jesus. Like in Isaiah 53, I think it's 8 through 10, they call that the suffering servant passage. His name is encrypted there, and his crucifixion. The 12 apostles are encrypted in Isaiah. So Jesus is actually the attorney for the human race because he's a hybrid. He's half extraterrestrial and half human, and he's the only one that's fit for the job. It wouldn't be fair just to make one of them our attorney, and it wouldn't be fair to make just a plain human our attorney.
This girl's a mind blower, Dave, because she's right. She's one of the very, very few that ever got it right without 15,000 guesses. Well, you're right. I'm glad I got Joshua as an attorney. I took him on about 7 or 8 years ago, and I'll tell you this, he's the best attorney in the universe.
All right, well, thanks, man.
Yeah, good luck to you, buddy.
Okay, thanks for calling.
Right.
I mean, come on. Marijuana plant, a seed costs you basically nothing, and you can grow something that's worth a couple of $3,000 on the street. Now, if that was all handled appropriately, it'd be worth $20-$30.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know how they would do it, but I would just like to see the profit taken out because I listened to your show the other night. I don't know who that man was.
Retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Dowd, who's
But
under the statistics on it. You should get his book and check it out. He thinks that it should be done through pharmaceutical companies because they have the distribution routes in this country, which basically no other countries have.
Yeah, but then they make such profit. But he did say one thing that
He said
really...
for quality control, more or less.
He said that they are making criminals out of the young people.
They are.
And
we are doing that.
Yeah, at 10 years old, we're making, he really hit the nail on the head when he said
you
that.
get 10-year-olds, running crack because if they get caught, they get spanked in the hand, maybe go to juvie. They get 10-year-olds doing drive-by or taking care of shootings now because they're underage and they won't go to the electric chair. So they're paying these kids to be criminals. They're teaching them how to be mean, ugly criminals and drug dealers. Their older brothers, they're the big gang guys down there. And when you grow up, you can be like me. Okay? Okay, now, this is what I want you to do, Saeed. You go over here and you take care of this. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. And you can see it all around. Hold on. Jonathan Blank here on ZBS Radio Network. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Dave Allen. Dave will be back in a moment.
We have Steve on the line, a guy. Hey, man, this is a female spiritual site quest. What's this guy want? Steve.
Thanks a lot, Dave.
You're doing ruining my house party here, man.
Thanks for the great introduction, Dave.
I'm an archaeologist, and I made a discovery 10 years ago.
Oh, man.
Of
stinking lousy fly in here. Look at the size of this thing.
I'm sorry.
I swear to God.
Am I online or am I offline?
You're online, man. Put this fly in here. Look at the size of this thing. You can harness this for energy. I hate flies. Hold on. Damn! Stinking lousy fly.
Hi, archaeologist.
Get him! Get him!
It's hard to deal with this.
Hi, I'm still
Son
here.
of a...
Hello.
I think I got him.
Was there any, like, synchronistic,
Hold on, I gotta take a break. We'll be right back. We'll be right back tomorrow night at 7. This is Nighthawk on ZBS, where you hear the best. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling.
You're listening to Dave Allen.
Wow.
So, wait, real quickly.
So now you know who Dave Allen is.
Wow. I'm amazed by his flow, how quickly he is with everything.
What an amazing talent he was.
So real quick, the listener who asked about his bumper music, I managed to Shazam it.
Yeah.
500 Miles to Go by George Duke.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Dave was a musician himself, so he had this great musical timing. It was absolutely amazing. Nancy and Carmel, I was going to go right to her, but but she hung up. So here's Judy in Live Oak. You're the last caller today, Julie. Judy, you're on.
Hey, Dave Allen, that was great. So that was awesome. Then he had David John Oates on, and that blew my mind because, MZ, I've been wanting to tell you about reverse speech. I didn't know, but reverse speech is amazing, and the CIA uses it. It's an actual thing. And
Well, Dave was on top of all this stuff. I mean, he was way ahead of his time.
David Oates, he's on reversespeech.com. He just talks. He's written a new book, and he's teaching people. Now, if I had the money, I'm trying to get my brain back, but I don't know. I'm getting better, but I'm just saying. No, I had some. Never mind. I don't. No, Tiffany Fontenay. It's TIFFANYFONTENOT. She's got a tiffvision.com. She's really good. You can tell what's going on in the world because this is actual thing. People in the limelight, like Obama, President Trump, you can see what they say, and then you can see their subconscious thoughts because these people have learned how to interpret them. It's not easy to understand what they're saying backwards, but it's a real thing. People can go to Reverse Speech and look it up. Thanks for your great show.
Okay, you bet. Thank you very much. That's it for the show, gang. We have to say goodbye. See you next week.
That's all, folks.
You're listening to KSCO, Santa Cruz, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose.